I mean, because I love that, I love that just this stuff's being talked about now, That's kind of where I'm at. I'm just happy that these things that we've been discussing for decades is being discussed in the Canadian government.
Yeah, just remember last time this happened, we got hoodwinked.
Okay, well, let's see what this happens here. This is business of supply. Let's see here.
Is the Minister of Finance going to be using taxpayer dollars to travel out of the country this week?
So he's asking that for a reason, right?
Because he knows. Look at the little smirk on his face.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm happy to say hello to my colleague. He was my critic when I was a young man, Mr. Speaker, when I started in this House, and now I see that 10 years after, I still have the pleasure to have to answer his question. He comes from a great region. My dad lives next to his.
Niagara West.
Is the Minister of Financing planning on traveling to the Bilderberg meetings this week using?
Like, maybe this is a fake video? Is he even answering that question? I mean, it seems weird. Let's go on.
Taxpayer dollars?
Pause it. They never answer the question.
Well, that's true too. That's a good point.
To answer questions from my colleague, like I said, he comes from a great region where my family is also, and
like, who gives a shit about all this about your family comes from a great region? Like, why is he saying all that?
So I've seen him in action, and it's great to see that they can.
For Niagara West.
I just want to ask the finance minister why he believes that he should spend time at the Bilderberg meetings rather than actually tabling the budget.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm so glad to see my colleague is actually following, paying so much attention about what I do. I travel to Shawinigan also every weekend, Mr. Speaker, and I would be glad to invite him at home as well because he seems to be very interested where I'm going.
So that's it. I mean,
Is the Minister of Finance going to be using?
It's just like what, like they're so bent on using taxpayer dollars to go to the Bilderberg meeting. Really, you're worried about that kind of amount of waste?
Well, I think that it's more about just getting him to publicly admit that we're going to the Bilderberg.
Yes, exactly. Before the budget, so they can't budget it, but they're going to go to the Bilderberger. Carney sends his finance minister to secretive Bilderberg conference instead of tabling budget. That's from Dean Allison. What?
Isn't the Bilderberg a conspiracy? Or is
that's what I'm saying. That's what's so great about this, right? Remember, it was all a big conspiracy, and it's one of those things. Oh, they weren't doing it. Oh, they are doing it, but it's good for the world. It's that whole meme, right? About
how things come
together. Now it's good, right? It used to not happen at all, but now it's good. So I got some stuff highlighted here. This is just talking about the Bilderberg, but so my highlighted thing didn't work. So this is really frustrating. So maybe it'll bring back my other highlights. Yeah. So that this app that we're using sucks. So all that work I went through, all that pre-show work has just gone out the toilet.
Huh. I think Twitter is not the best. There's a little highlight, or is that not yours?
That's not mine.
Oh.
No.
Well, Twitter's not good. It's too active.
Okay, I'll remember it here. Here's Jeremy McKenzie. They can't produce a budget because they haven't been told what the agenda is from Bilderberg yet. Seriously. That's a good point.
Old Jeremy.
Peak liberal arrogance has been restored. Well done, Carney. Mark Carney has attended Bilderberg meetings. He participated in the meetings in 2011, 2012, 2018, 2019, 2022, and 2024, and was a member of the Bilderberg Meetings steering committee from 2011 until mid-January 2025.
How come he's not going?
Well, because he's sending his finance guy.
I think Carney and everyone is here right now in Alberta.
Because the G7, well, the Bilderberg was right before the G7.
When's the G7 start?
On the 15th.
Oh, so
Bilderberg must be right now.
Why would they start it on Sunday?
I don't know, but...
So the Bilderberg must be this weekend and the G7's next week?
Bilderberg from June 12th to June 15th at the Grand Hotel in Stockholm, Sweden. And the G7 is the 15th to the 17th in Kananaskis. So they overlap. So they basically just fly from Bilderberg to the G7.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting.
They just take their week off and they go to both conferences, right?
It's not a week off.
What do you mean?
I'm sure they're getting paid.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So here I'm going to read this because this is a pretty good. This is from Corrupt Saint. Dear Liberal government, you've truly outdone yourself, Mark Carney, whisking Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne off to the clandestine Bilderberger meeting while Canada clamors for a federal budget. From coast to coast, we're wrestling with skyrocketing housing costs, healthcare systems stretched thinner than a dollar store tarp, and Chinese tariffs gutting our farmers. Yet you're hobnobbing with global elites in Madrid instead of tackling our $62.3 billion deficit disaster. We need a budget now, not some half-baked fall economic update that reeks of procrastination. The irony is richer than a Bay Street bonus. You sermonize about affordability, about a net zero nirvana, but can't spare a moment to fix Canada's crumbling foundations before jetting off for secret chats with NATO honchos and corporate overlords. Don Davies' NDP propping up this farce must be snickering as you prioritize international schmoozing over our porous borders and an EV mandate with zero infrastructure to support it. Get it together, Carney. Patch up Canada's gaping wounds before chasing Bilderberg's backroom clout, or we'll be left begging for solutions while you're clinking glasses in Europe's elite hideaways. I just thought that was a very well-written rant. Thank you, Corrupt Saint.
Not bad.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, this EV thing is back on the table. I mean, I don't know if you've heard about that, but they're still pushing this 2035 thing with EVs. I mean, there was a CEO of Ford came out against it, and I'm like thinking, man, what are they thinking? There's no infrastructure to support it. You guys are having brownouts in Alberta last couple of years, and they want to just pump up the EVs. Like, you know why? I wonder, because they've got investments in China EVs, don't they? I mean, and they've got a bunch of subsidies in these EV companies in Canada.
Well, we have a huge, that'd be counterintuitive.
Isn't that kind of weird? Isn't that kind of corrupt if you put our money into these subsidies and then you force the regulations to change?
Well, I don't know. But I don't know that any of those subsidies worked out, did they?
Well, that's the thing.
Did
Well,
all those
maybe
places
there's not too late to make them work.
And then there's 100% tariff on Chinese EVs, which would be counterintuitive to them investing in Chinese.
With our pension fund, 600 million of our pension fund, I think, went to Chinese EVs, and then they tariff it. So, is that a bit of a?
That's not good.
That's not good, right?
That's
I mean,
That's bad business.
that seems bad. Like, it's not even. That's like anti-corruption. That's just fucking biting your own tail.
It's a real mess. You've got a real mess on you. You're in a real mess. I mean, so China could just tank our pension at any time just by shutting down that industry.
Not that they would shut down
would,
that
but
pension, but it's a lot. That's a lot. It's 600 million. That's a lot of money.
how much of that is how much is a pension fund? 600, right? So that's like 1%. No, I think the pension fund's like 500 billion, isn't it?